a second to do its thing. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Stu. Thanks, man. Thanks for getting that done.
Yeah, no sweat. All right. Do a quick. All right, so we are live. Excellent. So I've got 6:02. If we can call the meeting to order. Right now, in looking at the participant list, obviously I'm here. Catherine, Adam, Dave, Paul, Dan, and Josh. Is there anyone I've missed on there to speak? Okay. Chris Cotta sends his regrets, and I have a feeling some other folks will come in as we get going. But we do have a quorum to be able to hold a meeting. I don't anticipate this meeting is going to be a particularly long one, in part because I think we're just going to do some updates on where we're at. And the big piece on this agenda really is just talking about vendors. Two different things. As I wrote in my note when I sent the agenda out, I gave us the ability to have a vote tonight. It's not a requirement that we do. We can table that to our next meeting, and I'm fine with that if we decide. Would also help if we had more of the group here. I think that's important when we do it. So we'll see who else comes in, and if we have enough folks, we can potentially progress and go from there. So first things first, we've got the minutes from June 24th in front of us. Can I entertain a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I've got a motion. Can I get a second? All right, Dan gives a second. Are there any comments, edits, or discussion?
Adam, were you at the last meeting? I got your email.
I was at the last meeting. Yeah, that's when I began working on the little flyer for the contractor work request. I think that's what we talked about during the meeting, right?
Okay. If that being the case, I'll amend the minutes from the last meeting to reflect that Adam was there and not absent.
Oh, all right. I didn't realize it said I was absent. Okay. Yeah, I was there.
Perfect. Thank you. Good catch. All right. Any other edits, comments? All right. So with the motion to adopt the minutes from June 24th as amended, all in favor? Aye. I love when people's pictures, yes, Deb Palace, thank you for the thumbs up. Catherine, Deb has joined into the meeting too. I love when people's pictures freeze in sort of an awkward face. That's fun. Hi, Dave. Cool. Thank you, Catherine, as always. Much appreciated. All right, so general business as we kind of move into it. I talked to Chris Cotta right before this. Again, sends his regrets, can't be here. What he said is that the grant, because of the way that it's structured, you have to take the original copy and it has to more or less go back and forth to the DEM in the state. So he said from, I believe, and I hope I get this correct, his office has signed it. It has gone back up to the DEM to be notarized, and then it has to come back and be logged by the town clerk. So he said it's in process for getting completed, doesn't anticipate any issues with it. It's just a matter of administrative timing. So we're a go on that, and he'll give me the final heads up when it's completed. So it's still in process, but we're getting there. So that's a plus. A fundraising update. I have a meeting I'm presenting in front of the town council on Monday. The premise of me going in front of them is to discuss, can we actually put up a sign and collect money from different individuals and recognize them for their contributions? So kind of to the thing you were working on, Adam, and I did see your message. I apologize. I owe you a note back. We need to get approval from them before we can proceed. So I'll connect with you, Adam, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really want to have that, installed as something permanent. It was just, my rough draft for you to approve, and I'll type it up afterwards. So it was kind of messy, but it takes me a long. I'm not a great typer, so I want to do it once.
Yeah, I don't blame you. No, and I appreciate you going through and helping with the vendor side of it. Jen also sent her regrets. She can't make tonight, but I'm going to talk to her about the pavers. And so what I'm hoping to offer to the town council is not a polished fundraising plan, but enough so that they can approve it and give me some guidance on how they want to handle approval of donations. You know, I think my two concerns, and maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than I need to, are potential conflicts of interest. Somebody who wants to donate but may want to seek services with a town later. And secondarily, if there are any disqualifiers from people being able to contribute. So if there are any groups or individuals that the town would not feel comfortable receiving funds from. And I don't want to get into the specifics of what that could look like, but I want to ask the question to them and let them provide feedback to me. So, Dave, that might be, and in a different conversation, you may want to pay attention on that one, because depending on how the dog park goes, you guys may have to go through a similar kind of process, and just parameters. So for whatever that's worth, I'll do the work for you. How's that?
Perfect.
Cool. And then, so one other note in here, just as it pertains to our process, is Josh and I met with the town planner last week, who was very helpful. We were talking about, do we need to wait on anything? Can we proceed with where we're at? She was going to get some guidance from the town solicitor as well on the fundraising piece, so I can take that with me to the town council meeting. And she's going to get back to us. Also, while we've got the playground and the outdoor fitness space in one space, and I think that is covered by the master price agreement, looking at getting folks to redo tennis courts as part of the pickleball project, and seeing if Rick Rogers was going to look into that for us on the other side of it to see what we can come up with. And he just chimed in, so he might have some thoughts. Wait till his audio connects. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Your timing is impeccable, and I apologize that I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. Have you had an opportunity to take a look and see if there are any vendors on the master price agreement that can do tennis courts?
Yes, thank you, Stu. Sue looked into that, and there's a couple of interesting things, but not much helpful so far. One is the Rhode Island MPA doesn't really list it. We tried under different categories. Tennis court repair, we tried under seal coating, we tried under asphalt improvements. And really all they do is list seal coaters and contractors like Cardi, D'Ambra, and all that, which is terrific, but they're not going to do tennis court rehab. So we did reach out to the town of Narragansett, and they have to call us back. But they did a bid in 2019 for tennis courts, pickleball, and basketball court. They, as near as I can tell, but again, we're waiting for more information from them. They selected somebody, but it was rehab is my understanding, but it was quite expensive, to the tune of around 106. And again, reading the description was one court each, but we're looking into it some more. Also, we contacted Parks and Recs in Bristol. They did a tennis court makeover 5 years ago, which they put out to bid. They stated the contractor they weren't that happy with, but they do have somebody called JG Coffee Company / Nell Freely out of Bristol, who they highly recommend. And also of note that Narragansett put it out to bid. I don't remember if it was 9, but it's something like 9, and only one bid was received to redo the tennis courts, pickleball, and basketball court. So that's obviously not a good showing. So it's not a very popular item. And we're going to still look and see if there's MPAs around New England that might offer more information. But MPAs as a whole are sort of hard to navigate. And when you go through it for tennis court rehab, there was very, very little information as stated.
One thing that Chris Cotta mentioned that you may want to take a look at too, Rick, is apparently Little Compton also did this for pickleball, he thought. So if you want me to help track down a contact with rec for them, let me know. If you have one, go for it. I do have a general question, and Adam, this also sort of loops you in, is if we get somebody who's willing to donate time and services, how does that impact our requirement for doing an RFP? So somebody comes up and says, I'll give you, $50,000 worth of goods and services. And I'm using an example that might not be real. do we bypass having to do an RFP? Do we still have to go through some process? How does the in-kind element work? Anybody have any ideas?
I would,
I don't know.
I'll
Are you
comment, I'll comment on that, and then whoever else would like to. I'll find out, I'll ask town halls too, but to my knowledge, in kind, donations do not have to be put out to RFP or to bid.
Adam, sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I said I didn't know who you were directing the question at. Sorry.
I'm sort of open-ended. Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna get 50,000 in contributions. We might, but just knowing in general, no matter what it is a good piece. I also think, Rick, it might be worth asking about some sort of hybrid. Like if somebody's willing to contribute part of it towards a job, but it isn't the complete process, how do we handle that? So a couple different contingencies within the structure of volunteerism.
Okay, I'll check on that.
Cool. If you would be so kind, when you have an update, if you can throw something into an email and I'll just share it with the committee. Not a rush on our end, but useful for me not to try and remember what you've said and rather than being able just to forward. So.
Okay, I will do so. And I will also, when we find out more information on the MPA and tennis courts, I'll also forward that to you in an email.
Awesome. Thank you. And we'll add that in for the next meeting. We'll record the submission. Okay, so that brings us to the third item in here under general business, which is selecting a vendor. And I want to have a discussion first, just in general about this. In our last meeting, we talked about the fact that we'd asked 3 vendors to submit. We got one pretty good plan. We didn't get much beyond, like we got feedback beyond that, but we didn't get guidance on what a plan would look like from 2 of the vendors. And so, you know, in conversations with a couple of you in different places and also with the town planner, I think what it kind of came down to is that we have a few different routes where it looks like we could go. We could select one vendor and potentially run with them. I would want to confirm before we do that we could vote. The second option is to go back to all of them and ask for another presentation. And the third option might be to whittle it down to 2 vendors and ask them, you know, maybe have a sub working group that connects with each of them and asks for a refined plan. So based on what they gave us, looking for something a little more specific. And then that's what we use to base our judgment off of. I present those 3 plans and I offer up for feedback.
I mean, I really liked the first guy that we spoke to last time. I can't remember his name. So the older guy,
JP?
seemed like he had a lot of experience. He had everything we were looking for. I mean, he actually seemed like he went over whatever the request was that you had given him for his proposal, and I was impressed with him. So,
okay.
To me, the other 2 weren't an option by the time we were done with that meeting.
Okay. Other thoughts?
Give me a summary. It's been so long again, just brief of who we heard.
Sure. So JP LaRue was the first gentleman who came in. One second here, see if I can pull up his presentation. So there were 3 of them. There was JP LaRue.
From
There
Little
was,
Compton.
Yep, from Little Compton.
Yeah, from Little Compton. Yep.
Compan was the second one. Compan had the most sort of polished presentation. And then O'Brien and Sons was the third one. Megan O'Brien, they presented at the end.
And they were Minnesota, I think.
Sorry, say that again.
They were Minnesota? Is that it?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's funny because Adam, I kind of felt that way about the second group, that once they presented to me, they hit everything we wanted. They had our list of everything we wanted. They really took into consideration what our requests were. And they were the only one that seemed to me like they really did the work that we asked them to do when we put it out.
And I think that the products that he was proposed using offered a better warranty than the other contractors we were talking to. I think he had the longest warranty for his composite materials. He had 50, and I think the other guys were a 30 or 35 year in the composites, if I remember correctly. That's what I have in my notes anyway.
Stu, I have a quick question. What did you mean by Minnesota? Is that where the firm was from?
That's where a lot of their projects. So it's landscape structures. Is that correct, Josh?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're based out of Minnesota, and they work with O'Brien and Sons, who are a Rhode Island-based company, I believe, if I got that correct.
They're a Massachusetts-based
Massachusetts.
company.
Can you remind me, why do I have Big Toys written down here, Stuart?
That's JP LaRue's Big Toys.
Oh, that was, all right. That was the first guy that we talked to, was JP, and he had Big Toys. Okay. All right. Yeah, it seemed, like I just said, it seemed like they had a better warranty than the other,
So
the other manufacturers.
just to break it down, you had two vendors that, represented specific manufacturers, and then one was directly the manufacturer.
Right.
JP LaRue represents multiple manufacturers. Big Toys is one, Columbia Cascade, there's a handful. And then Emmy O'Brien is Landscape Structures, and then obviously Compan's Compan. I'd agree with Deb. I asked them all the same question, and they, Emmy O'Brien and JP LaRue both shared concepts early and basically didn't take it as an opportunity to refine them or to look back at the survey that we spent a lot of time and energy developing. They didn't spend a lot of time coming back and making sure that they touch those points and address them in their concept that they presented to us. So, I feel like it was definitely a missed opportunity on their part for sure.
Yeah, I think JP had all the space accounted for that we had, planned to use. And I believe one of them, I think it was the last people that we talked to, they didn't even take that space into an account in the plan in the concept plan that they had drawn.
And the other thing we should definitely note is JP LaRue was the only vendor that flat out didn't provide a zip line as an option. And I think
I was just going to say that.
That was high ranked, one of the, extremely important parts of the survey. It seemed important to the town. So Emmy O'Brien has a single zip line. Compan came in with a double zip line. So, it brings in the level of competition between, users. So you had two vendors that actually offered a zip line.
Now, does JP LaRue not offer a zip line, or did he just forget to put it in his plan, his drawing?
I'm not certain if he offers one. That's not, he stated that he didn't. I think we'd have to listen to the video again, but I think he had a reason why he didn't want to include it. So,
Josh, I don't remember him talking about a zip line, but maybe you're right. I do recall there wasn't in his drawing, but I don't think that we actually asked him about it.
No, I'm fairly certain that he brought up that he chose to not include it.
Huh. All right.
So I apologize. I'm trying to pull up while we're having this discussion really quickly, something so we can each see what the presentations looked like, and I can circulate them over.
So I don't know if we want to at all, it really depends on the group, try to get down to 2, and if we want to give that second person another shot. But to Josh's point, only one did what we asked them to do the first time. But if the group wants to get it down to 2 and give that second person another shot, I guess I certainly wouldn't be against that if that's what the group wants.
What if we did this? And Josh, I may need your help on this, is to look at a couple different categories for evaluating the presentations. So everything from overall perspective to alignment with plan to warranty to materials. Like, we'll just get a couple different columns, and I'll circulate it and ask everybody to put in on a rating scale what their numbers are, and we'll see what we come up with. And at the end of it, whichever ones, like 1, 2, and 3, how you would rate them, right? Whichever one was the best, so on. That may give us an answer. If it's really lopsided one way, then we probably have our answer. If it's close, then we can review those numbers. And I won't when we come back to the next meeting, I'll probably just pull what the final numbers are. I'll share with everybody ahead of time, in fairness to the folks that took the time to present. From that, we can pick either a vendor or make a decision if it's really close to go with 2 of them and revisit it. Does that sound viable?
Sure.
Yeah, because I agree. I mean, I think we're all wrestling with the same thing here, and my brain works very linearly. Just let's put some numbers in and see what it looks like. So, all good feedback though. I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. I mean, I can see all of them being. I think it's a positive. I can see all of them doing a good job with this project. Right. So, cool. All right. So, do we need to make any, just procedurally, do we need to make any motion to table the vote till next time?
Vote for picking a vendor.
Yeah, so on the agenda, it says select a vendor with a vote. Can I guess just adjusting the schedule. So can I entertain a motion to table the vote into the next meeting?
So moved.
All right, Catherine and Dave, I saw a second there. All in favor? Cool. Anybody opposed? All right. Deb, I love that you keep putting the thumbs up.
Yeah, that's what you're getting from me because I don't have video tonight. I'm
All
sorry.
good. Works on my end. All right, so I will put that together and circulate that out before the end of the week. Can I ask everybody to fill it out in the next 10 days? Is that doable?
Yep.
And I will include the presentations in PowerPoint form, or the way that was shared with me, as well as the video link to it. I have been asked for our committee not to share the PowerPoints externally. So I'll ask, just out of respect for their requests, not to do that. But cool. I think we're getting closer, folks. So at that point, we're a little before 6:30. I did not have any public comments from anybody. Nobody reached out to communicate during this meeting. Is there anything anybody wants to say from this group? Going once, going twice.
All right, so let me ask you, so we, with the vendors, we had the 3 vendors. So what you guys agreed on is we're gonna line up the 3 vendors, we're gonna watch the video again, and we're gonna make a list of what their plans are and to see what we approve of, just to kind of refresh our memory.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going
And
to
then
put
we'll make
together
a
an
decision.
Excel sheet that has, it'll have like, I have to make sure, I'll put it together. It'll make sense when you see it, but essentially you pick each of the vendors, 1, 2, and 3, and in each category, how would you rank them? So you'll have like JP LaRue, O'Brien and Sons, and the third one, and it'll say things like warranty, quality materials, general design, overall recommendation, and we'll total those numbers at the bottom.
Stu, are you going to be in contact with them then in the meantime, just to clarify some of the questions we asked you tonight? Like I said, obviously the zip line's one of them. Josh says he's positive that they don't offer a zip line, but I would just like to, I would like to hear it from them. So I didn't write it down. I don't remember that.
So I will reach out. I made a note here. I'll reach out to JP to ask about it. I have been in contact with Compan and O'Brien and Sons because they checked in with me and said we're still deciding and the grant hadn't been signed yet, but I will ask.
Okay, you haven't heard anything from JP since our meeting?
No, but I did, in his defense, I did say I'd reach back out to him when we had.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
And he has reached out to me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I mean, he has followed up.
Yeah, I think they're all there and they're waiting and they know that we're still deciding.
Okay.
So I'm not. And if anybody has any other questions you want me to ask like that, Adam, I'm happy to include it in our.
Okay.
Notes.
If I think of anything, I'll email you.
That works.
I'm just curious for the other 2, is their warranty fixed or is that flexible? Where he was saying that, he was 50-year warranty for JP LaRue. Well, do we know if it's 30 or if they have the ability to extend that?
I'm not certain. I'm not certain. And that's something we can ask. The other thing that we should probably make sure we clarify is whether or not the warranty was for one of his specific lines and not all of his lines. So I'm fairly certain that it may have only been for one of his vendors, not all of the vendors. And in that case, it would only represent a portion of what we're looking to do.
Yeah. Why don't we do this? If there are questions out there, send them to me by sort of midday Friday. I'll send them to the vendors and ask them to get back to me, and then we'll take about 7 to 10 days on our end to vote, and you'll have that information and the rest of it. So if you have any questions, send them to me. I'll put them together and send them over verbatim.
One comment I would have on warranties is typically what I have found, and most people probably know this, is warranties are a gauge of the quality, but there's a lot of fine print in a warranty, and typically a warranty covers material only, and a lot of times they're prorated. So it's not such as you don't pay $10,000 for something and 5 years later get $10,000. So just to make sure everybody, I think what the actual warranties say is going to be important, not just the years.
That's a great point.
All right. So last thing I had is I circulated an email to everybody with a list of potential vendors or excuse me, donors, just so we can start compiling that donor list. It could be individuals, it can be companies, any amount in there. I mean, we're looking at, do you have friends that you think might contribute that we should talk to about pavers, or companies that you work with that contribute money or products? So please take a look at that, start putting names in there. The list will stay with us. And then when we start doing fundraising, we'll use it as a base to ask. So
Tyler, get off the end of the couch.
I'm muting you there, Josh. Cool. All right. Unless there's anything else anybody needs to touch on, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right.
Second.
So Deb, I've got a motion from Deb and a second from Adam. All in favor? All right. With that being said, thank you guys. Have a good week.
Have a good night, guys.
Please remember to send me questions.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you guys.